There's something scaring your dog today, not a thunderstorm, not a stranger walking past the window, something inside your house, something you did, probably before you even finished your morning coffee. Picture this. Your dog is walking across the kitchen floor, completely fine, tail doing its normal lazy wag, and then they just stop. Ears go flat, eyes go wide and a little glassy. Every muscle in their body goes still in a way that doesn't quite make sense. You look around, nothing is there. So you assume they're being weird. You move on, but they didn't move on. Because here's the thing most people never realize about fear in dogs. It doesn't always look like panic. It doesn't always look like shaking or cowering or hiding behind the couch. Sometimes it looks like your dog just quietly leaving the room. No drama, no sound, just gone. We're going to talk about why today. When most of us think of a scared dog, we picture the classic image: tail tucked hard between the legs, ears pinned back, trembling in the corner. And yes, that's absolutely fear. But that's fear that's already boiled over. That's fear that had nowhere left to go. The dogs I'm talking about today don't look scared at all on the surface. They look like they're being weird, or overly sensitive, or just moody. And that's the problem. We've been taught to recognize fear when it's loud. We completely miss it when it's quiet. And actually, wait. Let me back up, because I think I'm skipping over something important here. The real issue isn't even that we miss the signs. It's that most of the things causing this quiet, chronic fear are things we're doing out of love, out of excitement, out of the instinct to comfort and connect. We aren't failing our dogs because we don't care. We're failing them because nobody ever told us that some of our most natural impulses read as threats in their world. Trainers and behaviorists have a language for this: trigger stacking, threshold responses, cortisol accumulation. And all of that is real science. But none of that vocabulary helps you in the moment when your dog gives you a look across the kitchen that you can't quite read. This video is about learning to read that look. Number 5 on this list is the one that genuinely caught me off guard the first time I learned it, because it's something almost every dog owner does instinctively the moment their dog seems frightened. It feels like the right thing. It feels like love. And it's actually making the fear worse. Stay with me through all 6. Some of these are going to reframe moments you've already replayed in your head, wondering what you did wrong. Let's start with something so simple it's almost embarrassing to say out loud. Every single day, every time you walk over to your dog, lean down toward them, reach out to scratch the top of their head, you are performing one of the oldest threat signals in mammalian biology. I know that sounds absurd. You're not trying to threaten them. You're trying to love them. But hear me out. Dogs evolved alongside predators that attacked from above and from the front. Hawks, big cats, other canines. Threats came from overhead and moved fast toward the face. That wiring is millions of years old. A loving household and a warm bed don't erase millions of years of hardwired survival instinct. So here's the moment. You come home. You're genuinely happy to see them. They're running up to greet you, and you immediately lean forward, arms open, moving fast. And your dog does something so small you've probably never caught it. A single step back. Not away, just back. 1 inch, maybe less. And then they recover immediately and everything looks fine. That 1 inch was everything. That tiny, barely there back step is their nervous system saying big thing coming fast from above and then overriding it because they know you. But the signal still fired. The body still reacted. The fix is almost laughably simple. Crouch sideways instead of head on. Let them come to you instead of going to them. Make yourself smaller, less frontal, less looming. A dog that runs to you every single time, that's a dog who has never once felt cornered by your excitement. Not fireworks, not thunderstorms. We all know those. I'm talking about the blender. The smoke alarm battery that decides to die at 2 a.m. with 3 short, ear-splitting chirps. The cabinet door that slips from your fingers and slams. The specific crash of a pan hitting a tile floor. You have lived in your home long enough that your nervous system filters these sounds out. They don't even register anymore. Your dog's nervous system cannot do that, and neurologically, it is not designed to. Picture your dog half an hour ago, completely boneless on the kitchen floor, one of those full-body sploots where they look like they've melted into the tile, completely relaxed. And then a cabinet closes too hard, and in the time it takes you to blink, every single muscle in their body is tight, head up, eyes scanning, ears moving like satellite dishes trying to locate the source. They settle again in 30 seconds. You barely noticed. But the cortisol spike happened. The stress response fired completely, full force, and flooded their system. Do that 10 times a day, every day for years, and you have a dog living on a low, constant hum of alertness they can never fully switch off. We stopped noticing because we adapted to our environment they never got to. They're still hearing every single sound like it might matter. This one goes directly against what most of us have been told. We're taught that eye contact with dogs builds the bond, and it absolutely can. Soft eye contact, slow blinking, looking away and back, that gentle back and forth that feels more like a conversation than a stare down. That's real. That matters. But sustained, direct, unblinking eye contact, especially from above, especially from someone new, especially when the dog has nowhere easy to go, is a challenge in dog language. It doesn't matter how warm your intentions are. What matters is what that signal means in their world. Here's the scenario. A guest comes over. They crouch down right in front of your dog, face level, big open smile, staring directly into their eyes. They're trying so hard to be friendly. Your dog licks their lips once, looks sideways for just a second, maybe shows the very edge of a tooth and pulls it back almost immediately. The guest says, "Ah, they like me," and leans in closer. Nothing went wrong that day, but your dog filed it. Every interaction like that gets stored somewhere. The dogs who are most comfortable with people aren't the ones who got stared at more. They're the ones who were consistently given the dignity of being approached the right way, side on, with soft eyes, with space to move. This is the heavy one. When two people in a household argue, even quietly, even with nothing louder than clipped sentences and a cold silence that sits over the whole room, your dog knows. Not the words, not the content, the charge in the air. Picture it. The room goes quiet in that particular way that isn't peaceful. And your dog moves to a doorway, not fully in one room, not fully in the other, positioned where they can monitor both of you at once. Their tail does half wags that start and stop. They get up and lie down again, get up, lie down, unable to settle anywhere. Not because they're being dramatic, because they are genuinely trying to manage the emotional weather of the only environment they will ever live in. They can't leave. They can't fix it. They can only absorb it. You are their entire world, not metaphorically, not as a nice thing to say, literally, completely. Their entire world is the walls of this home and the people inside it. When that world develops a fault line, there is no corner of it that feels fully safe anymore. I'm not saying never argue. I'm saying your dog is in the room, and they are paying attention in ways we consistently underestimate. This is the uncomfortable one, and I want to get this right because there's a version of this advice that's been floating around for years that is genuinely unhelpful, and I don't want to repeat it. Your dog is scared. Maybe it's thunder. Maybe it's a sound they can't identify. Maybe it's a person they don't know. And everything in you, every instinct, every loving impulse says hold them, soothe them, tell them it's okay. Now, people will tell you that comforting a scared dog reinforces the fear. And actually, wait, that part isn't quite right. You can't reinforce an emotion the same way you reinforce a behavior. Fear doesn't get stronger because you were kind during it. But here's what can happen, and this is the part that matters. If your voice goes high-pitched and urgent, if you swoop in with anxious energy, if your body tightens up because you feel bad for them, your dog reads your response as confirmation, as evidence, as the thing I was afraid of. The person I trust most in the world is now also acting like it's a problem. Your fear, stacked on top of their fear. Pause. The move that actually helps is stay calm. Stay present. Don't make it a big deal. Be the person in the room who isn't worried. Sit near them, not on top of them. Breathe normally. Let your stillness be the message. That quiet, steady confidence is what actually reaches them, not the urgent cuddle that communicates panic right back. Last one, And this one lives in the everyday, the ordinary, the completely accidental moments that add up over time. The pat that lands on their back while they're focused away from you, mid-sniff, completely absorbed in something only they can smell. The grab of the collar from behind while they're distracted. The full-body enthusiastic ruffle from someone who means nothing but love by it, but who never noticed the dog go very, very still underneath their hands. Dogs live in their bodies completely, fully. Every sensation, every touch, every point of contact is information. But touch that comes without warning, from a direction they weren't tracking, in a moment they weren't oriented toward you. That is startling at best. At worst, it maps exactly onto how threats arrive. And here's the part that stings a little. If we're being honest, sometimes we touch our dogs like furniture, absent-mindedly, from whatever angle is convenient, without a greeting, without a word, just a hand landing wherever our hand lands, because we love them, because they're always there, because we've stopped thinking about it. The fix is almost embarrassingly simple. Make a small sound first. Let them see your hand before it touches them. Give them half a second to orient toward you. That half second, that tiny, nearly effortless pause, is the difference between a dog who genuinely loves being touched and a dog who has simply learned to endure it. Remember that dog from the opening, the one who just slipped out of the room, quietly, without making a sound. They weren't being antisocial. They weren't sulking or difficult or dramatic. They were doing the only thing available to them, finding a few feet of distance from something that felt like too much. That's not a behavior problem. That's a dog trying to take care of themselves in the only way they know how. And the good news, and I mean this genuinely, not as a comforting thing to say, the good news is that fear built in small moments can be undone in small moments. You don't need a training program or a complete overhaul of how you live. You need to slow down enough to notice. That's it. That's the whole thing. Because on the other side of this, there's a dog who doesn't leave the room, who stays, who eventually just walks over, sighs once, and settles heavy against the floor right next to your feet. Completely still, completely present, completely trusting. Not because you were perfect, because you paid attention. Nod once. Hold the silence for a beat. If this helped you see your dog a little differently today, share it with someone who loves theirs.